What's going on, everybody? I'm Matt.
And I'm Vanessa.
And before we get started, we just want to say Happy St. Patrick's
Happy
Day
St.
to
Patrick's
everybody
Day.
out there, to you and to yours. Be safe, have fun, and don't do anything that we wouldn't do, which is actually a very short list. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. But no, the real reason we're here is to talk about Beauty and the Beast. But not the 1991 classic, the new remade version. And we're going to get right into it, although if you don't know the story of Beauty and the Beast, may God have mercy on your soul, I guess. However, if you are maybe one of the 20 people on the face of the entire planet that doesn't know the story of Beauty and the Beast, we're going to go ahead and give you a little recap, a little summary, and then we're going to get right into the film.
Yes.
So, a vain and arrogant prince is placed under a curse when he turns away an old woman because of her looks. The old woman is actually an enchantress who not only turns the prince into a hideous beast, but places the entire castle under a curse. She gives the prince an enchanted rose and tells him that if he doesn't find true love by the time the last petal falls, the curse will be permanent. Then there's Belle, a young pretty bookworm who lives in a small town with her father Maurice. One day Maurice leaves for the market, gets lost, and falls into the hands of the Beast, who keeps Maurice prisoner. Belle ends up taking her father's place, and is she the one to break the spell? That is the question. And of course, Disney has been on a roll recently. They've been taking their beloved animated classics and turning them into live-action adaptations. They did it with Cinderella and The Jungle Book, but they have actually really set the bar high here because many of you probably do know, but some of you who don't, Beauty and the Beast, the original, the animated film, was the first animated film to be nominated for Best Picture.
For Best Picture at a time when they only nominated 5 movies a year for Best
That's a
Picture.
good
Not
point.
like now where you can have
Up to
8
10.
or up to 10.
Yeah.
They had only 5, and an animated film was that good. And it is that good if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it is that good. I can even admit that. It is that good.
I'm biased,
Yeah.
but he's
I'm not a Disney freak by any stretch of the imagination, but I do have to admit the original it's a classic. It's a fantastic film. So of course the real reason why you're here, why you're watching this video, is you want to know, does the remake hold up? Does it do the original any justice? And for that I'm going to turn it over to the expert, because the original just so happens to be one of her favorite films of all time. So if anybody should be talking about it, it should be you.
It's me.
It should be you. So does it hold up?
Well, I'm just gonna start off by saying I have been anticipating this movie since I heard they were
Yes,
making
she
it.
has. Yes,
And then
she
I was
has.
even more excited when I found out who they casted to be in the film. So it's been a long, 2 years, year and a half.
Since you first found out about it, I would say probably a year and a half.
Year and a half, probably. And then once I knew the cast, I couldn't wait and couldn't wait and couldn't wait. So I'm gonna first say I am so thrilled at the cast because it's wonderfully casted.
They did put together a really good cast for this
Perfect.
film, yeah.
In my opinion, which is the only opinion that matters. So I'm just kidding.
Whoa! Alright, that's the last time I'm giving you the floor.
Your
That's
opinion
it. That's it.
I think
Done.
for a live action, I think this cast is perfect.
Yeah,
I
and
thought it before I saw the movie, and now I've seen the movie, and I still think it's perfect.
And I have to admit, I had only really one concern. It wasn't with Emma Watson, which, I mean, I know you thought she did a great job. My concern was with Dan Stevens.
Yeah.
I think he's a tremendous up-and-coming actor. I would
Yes.
put him in that list. But I didn't think he could actually pull off being the Beast, because the Beast has such a deep voice and looks so big and ferocious. And obviously they, what's the right word? Animated him. CGI'd him, if you will. But it was the voice that really, I didn't think he could pull off the voice.
Because the voice for the Beast, you're expecting a deep, ferocious,
Yeah.
animalistic voice, and Dan Stevens doesn't necessarily have that naturally.
No.
But he does. I mean, he pulled off a deeper voice, and of course,
We
they
think that
probably
they
did some
post-production computer work
voice
for
work.
his voice.
But
I also didn't know he could sing. Didn't know Luke Evans could sing either.
Luke Evans has a
Who knew?
fantastic voice, by the way. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
spoiler alert. if you haven't heard him sing.
He does have a pretty good
and
voice.
I believe that Luke Evans made Gaston probably more animated than the animated film. He was just over the top.
He really does.
And it was fantastic.
It is way over the top sometimes.
I really like Hermione's. Sorry. I did that.
Hermione is so good in Beauty and the Beast.
I'm so sorry. Emma Watson's voice.
She does have a pretty good voice.
I did that. I went there. And I think the movie looked fantastic.
It does look fantastic. Real quick before we actually jump onto that,
Okay.
Kevin Kline, he's
Yes.
good in just about anything he does. Josh Gad as LeFou, he has
was
some
so
very
funny.
funny moments. And then the voice work.
Yes.
Ian McKellen, Ewan McGregor, Emma Thompson, and Stanley Tucci. I completely forgot. I know I told you as soon as the credits started rolling, I was like, I completely forgot Ewan McGregor was in this film. He is so convincing as Lumiere. But getting back to what you were talking about, the film looks amazing. I have a feeling they spent a lot of money on the sets and on the CGI.
Yes.
The castle looks outstanding.
The inside looks so beautiful.
So good.
And then the outside is just this, worn down castle because nobody's really living there except for Beast, and he's an animal, so he doesn't need to clean. But it looks so fantastic.
Yeah, and even the surrounding forest, they added some nice touches. I'm not going to spoil anything because it surprised me in the film.
Yes.
But yeah, the whole film looks great, and that's brings me to one of my points. Going into this movie, there are some moments that some people were waiting on, and even myself, I was wondering how they were going to pull off some of the moments from the animated film. Be Our Guest was the big one you were looking forward to.
That was the one scene in this movie where I was slightly nervous because it is an essential scene for Beauty and the Beast. You cannot have Beauty and the Beast without Be Our Guest.
No, you can't.
If you do, you've just destroyed the entire story. I'm sorry. I mean, I know it's just a dinner scene, but who cares?
Yeah, and it looked great.
It looked great.
As did the other scene I was waiting for, which is, when Miss Potts sing Beauty and the Beast, and they Belle and Beast have their dance number. Looks outstanding in the film.
That dance sequence is beautiful. I'm gonna go back to the Be Our Guest. It's not, in my opinion, it's not as good as Be Our Guest in the animated film.
It's
but
hard to pull off.
Very hard to pull off, and I think it fits a live action. And I really enjoyed it, so I did like it in the live action.
Yeah,
and thank you, Ian McGregor, for your song, for your voice.
Yeah, he does a
As
great
Lumiere,
job. But of course, anybody who's singing Moulin Rouge knows that Ian McGregor can sing. And speaking of singing, you may have heard, they did add some stuff to the original film, if you will. They added some layers to the story. They added some more songs, and which actually surprised me because everything I was led to believe going into this film from critics' reviews and whatnot is that it stuck so close to the original, which it does, nobody really talked about the added layers, the little subplots here and there, or the added songs, which we're not going to spoil here either. But I actually thought for the most part it worked for the film.
I think so too. I really like, I'm not going to, again, give anything away, but there are a couple added, almost like backstories that give you a sense of depth.
Yeah.
And give you a sense of sympathy, maybe empathy.
Yeah, sympathy and
more character.
And in some cases, it even, or at least for me, answered some questions.
Yeah.
From the original, which the original's great, but you might wonder a few things about some of the characters, and here they kind of sort of answer those questions, which I really appreciated. And I was kind of like, okay, all right, that makes sense. We did have one problem with one of the songs, which once again we're not going to really get into right now, but it just kind of felt out of place.
Yeah, and
which might be a little bit nitpicky, but
it is a little bit nitpicky because I'm thinking about it. It is a good song. The placement in the film kind of makes sense only for the depth aspect, in my opinion. However, I kind of just wanted it to get to where it was going.
The next scene, which
bad.
we talked about with the original, how it felt more appropriate, how it kind of jumped scene to scene, and how they did it in the original. This time, kind of like time out for a song.
Yeah.
Once
on.
again, yeah.
Hold on for a musical number.
But it is a good song. It just kind of feels slightly out of place, and that happens towards the end of the movie. Yes. So that way, if you do go see it and you're like, "What are they talking about?" Well, you'll know.
And they did change a little bit of the story, like subtle change, not like massive, horrible. Oh my gosh, that changes my world changes, but.
Which actually
which adds to the story again.
I do want to touch on one of those things. I don't really consider this a spoiler, but Maurice isn't an inventor.
No, he's
in this one.
artist.
He's an artist, which is really interesting because I picked up on it right away. Because thanks to you, I know the original almost inside and out now. But it was kind of like, wait a second here. Little subtle changes like that. That's just a good example. Other than that, though, I thought they did a really good job, and it has a lot to live up to.
It does.
Because the original is such a classic, and you can't help but compare it to the original.
Yes.
And in that case, it does fall short in the sense of, to me, the music isn't as good. Some of the scenes aren't as dramatic, but still, they did a really good job, and I went ahead, I'm giving it an A-.
That's exactly what I wrote down, and then I put in parentheses, I'm biased. I am biased. So, I mean, there are other things that I could nitpick entirely. I will say that the musical, the singing, is not as strong as the 1991. However, this is live action, so not only are they singing, they're also acting and
which
dancing
we talked about.
And all that. So,
it is different.
It is to be expected, in my opinion, because
and with animated films, you hire people for their voices, not for, and I don't want this to be misconstrued, but not for their looks and not for their on-screen talent. It's completely different. So yeah, the movie does lose a little bit of charm, but my eyes were glued to the screen. I couldn't help but smile a few times, and you do still get swept up in the story, and everybody does a really good job. Not great, not outstanding, but it is definitely worth seeing, definitely worth checking out.
Yes.
And so yeah, kudos to Disney. I know that they also have other adaptations in the works.
Yes, they do.
Which, please, don't touch Aladdin.
They will.
Please, don't touch Aladdin. You can't find anybody to replace Robin Williams. You can't.
You can't, but they will.
Don't do it. Don't do it. This is my message to you, Disney. Don't do it.
Which I think it's already in the works.
Oh, I hope not. I really hope not.
We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's really all I've got. I don't know about you.
I'm good.
But yeah.
Wait, I love the score, but of course it's the original score, so.
Yeah. Yeah. The music is great.
Music is great. The lyrics are great. I want to watch it again.
You could talk about this all day. I know you could. Yeah, it is definitely worth checking out. They did a really good job. Doesn't quite hold up, but still wonderful adaptation, especially when the bar is set so high. So kudos to everybody involved in making the film. Tremendous job. And yeah, that's all we've got. So of course, if you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to see more of our movie reviews, hit the subscribe button. We always do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. And yeah, if you have seen Beauty and the Beast, go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know how it stood up for you, if you liked it, if you enjoyed it, if you think it's better than the original. Be warned, somebody might be coming after you if you say that.
That's me.
Yeah, but otherwise, guys, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you guys next time.